Tunnel and Hooch. This is a tag response. I've been tagged by... It's probably a bit old now, actually. So it's been going around for a long time. But it's a tag explosion at the moment, which is a good thing. I look fucking knackered, don't I? Jesus. Red eyes. A bit sleepy, but... apologies for that. But no, this is a tag response. Sometimes it's a good thing, but sometimes when I'm really knackered, I go a bit mental. But I don't know. Hopefully, this is one of those occasions. But yeah, tag response. Tag's been going around for a long time, or a week or so. I was tagged by. Initially, it was Shocks. Then it was Pete, Snestastic, and then NESnate. All three. I was tagged by all three of them. It's the you can't take it with you tag. And I've watched a few of these, so obviously you do tend to formulate your own answers before you're tagged, just in case, or just naturally, not just in case. Naturally you do, and I have done. That's what I have done. So yeah, tags are good, aren't they? It's a tag explosion, and they've had a resurgence, which is a good thing. But yeah, 4 questions. Some of them I think I can answer more easily than others. Some of them don't know. Number 1, do you struggle buying games? It depends what the context of the word struggle is. Struggle as in physically? No, not physically. Existentially, it's I don't revere them sort of that much. They're inanimate objects, and they're not gonna, if I buy too many, then they're not gonna feel like their destiny hasn't been fulfilled if I don't play them. But no. I'm always careful about what I buy. I put a lot of, I know what I want. I don't really tend to buy everything. I reject a lot, and that's already a sort of formulated idea in my head. It's just a sort of like that's my default setting. I generally I have sort of like certain sorts of filters. Quite often if I'm going out and about, I won't take cash with me, and I find that helps because it helps sort of concentrate my sort of thought processes, my decision making, to the point. If you see something in a charity shop and you think, and then it's a certain price and you can't use your card, it helps you concentrate whether or not you actually want it or not, whether or not it's worth legging it to the bank to get some money. Sometimes, on a few occasions, when you see something really good and you've not got any cash, you have to proper leg it to the bank and back again, hoping no one's nabbed it. Or you can put it behind the counter and say, "Excuse me, can you hold that for me? Because I need to go and get some cash out." But certain things like that, But otherwise, I know exactly what I want, and if I buy too many, I've obviously got more games than I can use at any one time. Obviously, people can only ever use one game at one time, can't they? You can't, unless you're some sort of weird, sort of eight-arm genius. But so otherwise, in that sense, it's not really worth worrying about having too many because you can only use one at a time anyway. But otherwise, money-wise, I use that. That's like a filter. Although sometimes when I know something's on the money or I don't know the value of something, that's a real sharpener. That is, like today, for instance, I was out and I saw a copy of Super Mario Advance 2 in a charity shop. It was a box copy. It was Super Mario World on the GBA, and I thought, I want that. It was £10. I thought £10's probably pretty good. It was box GBA game. But I didn't go with it because it was £10. And I came home, checked them, because I came home and checked eBay just to see how much, because I hadn't been looking at it. That's another thing. I mean, if I'm buying it it was an impulse buy. If I'm buying it in that sense, It would benefit me if it's cheaper than if I get on eBay, because it's not something I'm actively looking for, but I knew it was something I wanted. But so I came home and sort of checked how much it was worth and how much they would go for if I had been looking for it on eBay. And £10 turned out to be a good price, but it was competitive, and it wasn't like sort of like your standard dirt cheap charity shop price. It was a good price. So that got me thinking in that sense, if I'd known, I would have gone with it. Otherwise I didn't. And I'm probably going to leave it. That's another thing. I like to leave things to chance, really. If I've got the money to pay for it, then I can. And also I do tend to, if I've got cash, I do tend to spend it. My judgment's not quite so discriminating. I think I answered the question. I don't know. Hopefully I did. Fuck, I look knackered. I can see my eyes are really red. Number 2, have you ever regretted trading in the game? Well, actually, this is quite relevant to me, because it sort of informed the way I do things. Because I have to say, yes, I have regretted trading in the game. In the past, I think it's particularly the original Suikoden. I remember trading it in. I've forgotten where I must have traded it into CEX, because I did a lot of that. Because I've been using CEX quite a long time. It was like the one in Tottenham Court Road. Oh no, the one in Rathbone Place. I use a lot, or used to use a lot, not so much now. But yeah, I think I must have traded in there, and then just almost regretted it straight away. And from that point on, this is before eBay, before things had a proper second-hand value. So blame eBay for all of that. The price went up like that, and it was only sort of a couple of years ago that I got a copy back for Christmas. So I got the money for Christmas and decided to spend it on a copy of Suikoden. But that's sort of an example of regretting trading something in almost straight away. And from that point on, I've been sort of really discriminating about what I buy and how much I paid for it. And I've got lists. I don't always stick to the lists, but I've got lists for pretty much every system I've got that I want to sort of stick to. And it means when I do, I have to be really sure about whether I want to get rid of something. Generally, if I'm going to sell something on it or trade it in, it'll be a duplicate. If it's not a duplicate, I have to be properly sure about it. But then again, that sort of concentrates your collection, like your mind as regarding your collection, or my mind regarding my collection. It means it's sort of tighter, and there's not so much slack. I mean, I do have certain games which I sort of could, I wouldn't miss so much. But I mean, the other games I've had, like Phantasy Star 4, I had, I think, traded that in, and when I had a SNES, I had Shadowrun. But all of these things I've traded in, and at the same time I've regretted them in hindsight. Regretted them now because to buy back, which is a lot of it's about nostalgia nowadays, isn't it? A lot of it's about nostalgia. A lot of the games I've bought for nostalgia. But nowadays, with eBay, the price has gone up and it costs a lot to buy back. So in that sense, I do regret them in hindsight. But at the time, it seemed the okay thing to do, because they've helped me get the games. They've helped me progress onto another system. Because at the time you can't buy everything, because these are sort of retail prices, and none of us at the time were millionaires, were we? But. So yeah, I mean, and generally RPGs, because the price has gone mental. Like Shadowrun, Phantasy Star 4, the original Vandal Hearts, because I had to buy that back again. I got a bit lucky with that one though. Just generally games that just prices have gone straight up, annoying, but no. So yes, I have regretted trading in games, because it's from that point on, that original Suikoden, it's informed the way I do things. From that point on, this is going back sort of early 2000s. So, and I didn't get a copy of Suikoden until maybe 2013, 2012, 2013, I think. So yes, I have regretted trading in games. If you could play a game again with, I think it's if you could play a game again knowing nothing about it for the first time, I think, what would it be? I think that's basically. I'd say that as sort of the game that's sort of surprised me the most. I mean, a lot of the games that I've played, you sort of know what they're going to, you know what they're going to give to you. Certain games, the high-profile games like Final Fantasy VII, I knew what I was going to get with that. Even though, and it's obviously one of my favourite games now, but I already knew what I was getting. I'm taking that question to mean sort of your expectations were low. I think that's what it means, and it's basically it had a sort of that first time was a sort of a major impact. If I can, I'll say two, because I mean one of them had a major effect on me was the original Shining Force. Because I did actually know a certain bit about it, because I'd bought a random US gaming mag from W.H. Smith's, and I'd seen this game and I thought, wow, this looks brilliant. And as soon as I played it, it just totally fulfilled my expectations, and it was just the best game ever, almost straight away. I just loved everything about it, although. And from that point on, that was probably the first RPG I played properly and understood what they were about. But it's probably the first game that I got I got so deeply into it that it had like a physical reaction. I can remember playing it. I must have been about 15, 16, maybe a bit earlier than that, 14 maybe. And I can remember getting so into it, and it was so sort of intense an experience that I remember I grit my teeth. Even though it's a turn-based strategy game, it's not fast-paced, but for some reason I got really sort of tense and intense regarding the game, and I'd grit my teeth. I remember every time I finished playing it, I used to play marathon stints. Every time I finished playing, I'd have jaw ache, so I must have been going. So it was like a bit of a revelation, so to speak. But the other game, probably more so, it had less expectations about, was Skull Monkeys. Just blew my mind. At heart, very, very standard 2D platformer using it's like claymation, digitized sprites almost. I think that's the right technical term. I don't know, but it was just the whole package of the actual gameplay is really solid. I'm not saying it's not. It is really good, just tough but good. But then the whole package of the sense of humour, I didn't really know what I was getting. The music, didn't really know what I was getting. It all just tied into this sort of this brilliant whole, this mad experience that just really nailed it. Like the music, for instance, that first title scene. I still whistle it now. You just can't help but jig along when you hear it, and the sense of humour, I didn't really know that was coming as well, and it cracks me up. I can't help but smile when I play it. So, yeah. In other words, I'm I think people should play it because it's a really good game. Maybe not the most in depth, like the most in depth game. Lots of, adventure. It's quite straightforward. You go from A to B. You had a certain choice of paths, but no, it's a great game. So that's Skull Monkeys. So yeah, so a bit of a fudge there. Shining Force or Skull Monkeys. And number 4, if you could be buried with a console, what would it be? Well, I've thought about this, and to be honest, I mean, who says, I might not be buried. I'd not really thought about it seriously. I'd quite like to go up in a firework. You know, you can't take a console with you that way, can you? But then you'd have to be. I'd always thought I wouldn't really want to be cremated. You know, there's no coming back from that, is there? But then if I'm going up in a firework, I'm going to have to be cremated. And I don't think there's any way you can go up in a firework without being cremated, because then you'd come down to earth with a nasty thud, wouldn't you? And then there'd be awkward silence where people would have to watch you plummeting, all the mourners, and hitting the earth. No, I mean, like, I've always thought. I just think it'd like. Obviously, I'd be dead. Like I said, I don't revere the consoles that much. You know, I'm not that religious. I don't have sort of. You know, sort of the sense of the afterlife. It'd just be a bit of a waste to put one in with me. But also, I think it'd be quite cramped. You know. And also, you'd have to think. You'd have to take something. If you're going to have a certain console, I mean, is it to be played in the afterlife, or is it just some sort of reverential sort of homage to your collection, your connection to the console? If it's to be played in the afterlife, you'd have to have something like a handheld, a backlit handheld. Otherwise, it'd be a bit dark. You'd have to have an AGS 101 or something, or a DS. And even then, you'd be holding it up like that, because I can't imagine there's that much room in a coffin. But I don't really want to be buried anyway, and that's just it made me think actually, because I'm not gonna, you know, I'm gonna endure. I've decided. I mean, there's this guy I know of. He's like a boffin. Bit of a boffin. He's a very, very intelligent guy. I suppose he's like a professional boffin, so to speak. He has all these mad ideas. He's called Aubrey de Grey, and he's said that there's people have already been born that will live. It's theory, but he puts it out in very clear terms that makes you believe it. There's a person who has already been born who will eventually live to over 1,000 years old, because he sort of treats aging as like a disease that can be cured. And he says it in sort of very clear and very like clear terms, and makes you go, yeah, I totally believe that. I totally buy into that. So that's going to be me. So I'm just going to endure. I'm going to be immortal. But then, and I probably, if you were immortal and you had all the games, you know, you live forever, had all the time to play your games, you probably would never play them, or you'd play them too much and you get bored of them. So. Don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be buried with anything, because it'd like be like awkward and cramped. Say you had like a NES behind you like that, you'd be lying on it or on top of you. I wouldn't want it on top of me either. You know, you couldn't turn over with it, because it'd sort of get in the way and you'd be wedged in. But anyway, so there you go. That was another fudged answer. So I won't tag anyone, because I have no idea who's been tagged and who hasn't, because I was tagged by 3 people. Actually, no. Who hasn't done it? Alex Plutonic and Steve Redraw 4444. You two can do it, and you have to do it. Otherwise, like I said before, the tag fairies will come and do nasty things to you in your sleep. So thanks to Adam Shocks 16, Pete Snestastic, and Nate NESnate for tagging me, and all the descriptions to the channels, the links were in the description box below, and I've tagged Alex Plutonic. He might have already been tagged by Pete, I can't remember, and I've tagged Steve Redraw 4444. You know. Probably 2 very busy people. So as you get out of there, you know. Anyway, bollocks. If you can find time to do it. Then if not, no pressure. There you go. I'm gonna shut up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Before 20 minutes.